When he was still a kid, Alton Brown's father died suddenly under mysterious circumstances, and Brown believes he may have been murdered. He might put on a smile for TV, but Brown's life clearly has been anything but easy. Moving to a new state can be difficult for any kid, and Alton Brown was no exception. He grew up in North Hollywood, California, but his Georgia-born parents moved the family back to their home state when Brown was 7 years old. In an interview for the Southern Living podcast, Biscuits and Jam, Brown explains that the move was inspired by his parents' desire to buy a radio station. Unfortunately, as Brown described to the Wall Street Journal, he struggled to adjust to his new classmates' way of life and never truly felt like he belonged. The contrast between the West Coast and the Southeast was a culture shock that Brown just couldn't move past during his childhood. To make matters worse, Brown's outspoken nature made him an easy target for violence from other students. He wrote, "I got beat up a lot because I couldn't keep my mouth shut." Tragically, when Brown was in the 6th grade, his father died suddenly and mysteriously. According to the New York Times, Alton Brown Sr. was discovered with a plastic bag over his head, but authorities weren't able to declare an official cause of death, as they were unable to determine definitively whether he died by suicide or homicide. However, Brown has made it clear which he believes is more likely. In an essay in the Wall Street Journal, he wrote that he felt it wasn't likely that his father would commit suicide. He also points out that the newspaper his father owned angered some readers, suggesting that this may have resulted in enemies. Unfortunately, Brown's father's death remains unsolved, even 5 decades later. Not long before his death, Brown's father gave him a second-hand alto saxophone, a final gift that had great meaning to him. He still plays the sax today, appearing on stage many times and posting about it on his Instagram page. Brown wrote, "The sax got me through a lot." Brown and his first wife, Deanna, married in 1994 when Brown's television career was still in its early stages. In an interview with Channel Guide magazine, Brown said Deanna stood by his side through the difficult phase of attending culinary school. The two even worked together on Good Eats, where Deanna served as an executive producer. The couple also had a daughter, Zoe, and stayed together throughout Brown's rise to Food Network fame. However, they ultimately separated in 2014, and Alton later filed for divorce. In 2018, Brown told People that they simply grew apart. "We changed, the world changed, and she went one way and I went the other way." In a roundabout way, though, this difficult event eventually led to happiness for the culinary show host. Brown met his second wife, Elizabeth Ingram, after hiring her as an interior designer for his post-divorce home. In 2019, Brown took to social media to announce the sad news that his Good Eats castmate, Deb Duchan, had passed away. Duchan frequently appeared in the original series, showing up at just the right moments when Brown wished he had a nutritional anthropologist around. He wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, that Duchan was smart and passionate and a lot of fun to work with, even if she did always change the script. Duchan was a recurring character across 13 seasons of the show, and clearly left an impression on fans. Off-screen, Duchan was a real-life nutritional anthropologist who taught in the Georgia University system and studied food culture within her local community. Duchan's interest in the anthropological side of the culinary world also led her to co-found the Facebook group Culinary Historians of Atlanta in 2009. Brown paid homage to Duchan in Raising the Bar: A Reload in the second season of Good Eats Reloaded, which also features an official dedication to Duchan before the final segment. Toward the end of the episode, Brown offered a toast.
Here's to absent nutritional anthropologists.
Mental health issues aren't always easy for people to discuss, especially for those who spend their lives in the public eye. More often than not, celebrities and other public figures keep these concerns under wraps for the sake of maintaining their on-screen personas. Although Brown has admitted to struggling with his mental health throughout his life, he has only become more transparent about it in recent years. He told Forbes, "I go through very dark fits of depression. You don't see that on television. I don't let that part of me out." However, he shared his mental health issues with his Instagram followers in 2021. Brown was hard at work editing a cookbook at the time, a process that can take a mental toll on any writer. Brown posted a photo of himself sitting on his kitchen floor with the caption, "And with the book editing comes the depression." In a display of just how well-loved the culinary show creator is, Instagram rallied around him after this post, with many fans offering encouraging words of support. Good Eats first premiered in 1999 and catapulted Brown to culinary TV stardom, sparking fond comparisons with Bill Nye the Science Guy because of its innovative look at the science behind food preparation. The show ended in 2012, but its enduring popularity kept it at the top of many fans' minds and spawned 2 revivals. In 2018, Brown returned with Good Eats Reloaded, a short spin-off bringing back some of the original series recipes. And a year later, Good Eats The Return gave fans a chance to relive some of the magic of the beloved classic with a more modern spin. Although Good Eats was undeniably vital to Brown's career, working on the series took a toll on his personal life. Brown revealed that making the show was labor-intensive and time-consuming. In an interview with Larry King, Brown explained that each episode required hundreds of pages of research, which was stressful and ultimately led to Brown stepping away from the show.
I crossed the 250 episode line and realized I was tired.
If you or someone you know needs help with mental health, please contact the Crisis Text Line by texting HOME to 741-741. Call the National Alliance on Mental Illness Helpline at 1-800-950-NAMI 6264 or visit the National Institute of Mental Health website.